What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, Panther Nation? Welcome back to Two Fans in the Stands. We are live
Yes, sir.
in living color. I am your favorite couch scout extraordinaire, Tony, and today we have a special guest co-host. What's up, Doug?
Yes, sir.
What's going on, my boy?
What's going on, Tony? Man, definitely appreciate you pulling me up, man. Filling in for your other half of the two fans in the stands, man. Definitely appreciate you, gentlemen. Always having me come on, us talking about our Panthers and enjoying this great Saturday, man.
Yes, yes. Hey, man, we appreciate you for always being available and coming through in a time of need. So we greatly appreciate that. And for everybody that don't know, CJ is not with us today because he had a very major medical procedure done Tuesday. So we want to let you know that everything is all good. He's home resting. Everything was successful. So if you would keep him in your prayers, he'll be back with us shortly. But right now he's just taking his time, recovering and resting, and he'll be back with us as soon as possible. All right.
Yes, sir.
But look, let's get right on. Hey, let's get right on into it. Ain't no need to procrastinate prolonging this thing.
Hey,
we
before we get into it, I told my guy Quan,
yeah.
my I call him my co-host, even though he's with the Panthers experience. I was gonna shout out his Miller Creek Chargers, his Little League Pop Warner team. They're in the playoffs right now. They advanced to round 2 with a win today, so I definitely told him before we jumped into it, I was gonna shout out the Miller Creek Chargers out of Charlotte. A big congrats on their win today, and hopefully them young men, young boys continue to strive and get to that championship. I was able to watch them the last time I was out in Charlotte, so I'm definitely proud of those young Kings, and I definitely hope they continue their success throughout the playoffs.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up, Quan. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate all that you're doing for the young boys out there, for the youth and being a great mentor, a positive leader in the community. So hey man, that's good, man. We greatly appreciate that. Hope y'all bring back a championship this year.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm hoping as well, man. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, bring back a championship this year. But listen, man, ain't no need of sugarcoating it. Ain't no way around it. We sitting at a smooth 0-6 right now. You
Yes,
feel
sir.
me?
Yes.
Um, I know it may or may not be any reason to be optimistic right now. There may or may not be any reason to have any hope.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, tell us what do you think the state of the franchise is right now?
So for the ones that like Tony said, me and Tony hit me up and he was like, "Hey, Doug, um, I'm thinking about a live. Are you interested? Are you available?" I said, "Yeah, I'm available. Anytime you guys need me." So a coincidence. All right, what's up, Doug? We talked about the state of the Carolina Panthers was our title, and at a subtitle, I said a change is coming. 0-6. Nobody really thought we would be 0-6 right now. I definitely thought a couple of wins would be underneath our belt. Um, but
Right.
more and more the season went on, and the more and more that I was just dissecting the situation and looking back at how our offseason has went, excuse me, we should have lowered expectations. I think we did have the blinders on, the horse blinders on, not thinking that
Yeah,
we
I'm guilty of that.
staff. We had new players, new acquisitions, but also like we talked about, you run this vanilla offense. You had players coming back from key injuries. I think some players are still playing with injuries where we probably should have sat down. So for me, 0-6 is not what I thought, but the word for me was reset and refocus, and that's where I'm
Mm,
going forward with after the bye. You reset, you have a new play caller, and you refocus on this team. Yes, we're talking about trades. Yes, we're trying to get more draft capital, but at the same time, you just don't deplete your roster. You just don't lay down every single Sunday or that Thursday night game with the Chicago Bears We come out with the game plan, see what we have on this roster, and then you might got a clean house, with some front offices, but at the same time, I'm definitely optimistic, like you said. But my word is a reset and a refocus.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I didn't look at it like that. I was definitely one of those. I was definitely one of the ones that had the blinders on. I thought based off last year, okay, just based off last year, particularly once we knew that we were going to get a quarterback in the draft. So I was of the mindset that as long as the offensive line can
Mhm.
be the same offensive line that we had last year, the whole idea of dropping a quarterback in there and you could potentially be better than what you were last year.
Correct.
I didn't see nothing wrong with that thinking, and I was of the mindset of thinking that way.
Yeah.
I knew that Brady Christensen was coming back, from his injury. I knew he'd be a go once the regular season started. I said pretty much all during the offseason, even the beginning, even during preseason, that Austin Corbett won't be back until week 8. I'm still in that mindset.
Okay.
Um, just knowing that 2 weeks ago he was brought off injury reserve, so he's in that 21-day
Correct.
window. Which
Correct.
by the time we come off the bye and get ready for Houston, he'll be ready to go. I think those 21 days will be up. So we have that right guard plug back in there. So not thinking at the time that the scheme was going to change so dramatically. I knew okay, let me take that back. I knew it was going to change because I knew it wasn't going to be that smash mouth type of running game that we had last year that we had to rely on
Correct.
because of the
The personnel we
inconsistency
have.
that
Yep.
we had at quarterback and
Hmm.
and wide receiver, to be honest, because outside DJ Moore we didn't have nothing else, to be honest. I mean, TMJ did his thing a little bit when called upon, but
Correct.
there was no proven wide receiver two to play outside DJ Moore last year. But we did rely heavy on the run game. But what I did try to tell people, and I should have took heed to my own advice, was that this is a rebuild. When anytime you bring in a new head coach, a new offense coordinator, new defense coordinator, you change the defensive scheme from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and now you're changing the offensive scheme. And everybody is learning their scheme. It's brand new for everybody, is what I'm trying to say. Regardless of how many players we still have from last year and who we kept, and everything is new for everybody. The coaches are getting used to everybody. The coaches are getting used to the players. The players are getting used to the scheme. And I
Correct.
just knew that it wasn't going to be as smooth sailing as some expected to be right off the bat. Did I know we was gonna be 0-6? No, no. I,
Nobody.
I could have bet the house and I'd
Yep.
be homeless right now.
Yep.
Okay.
You wouldn't be the only
So
one, Tony. You wouldn't be the only one, man. Like for me,
yeah.
it's the part where I know we'll get further into it during the show, but it raises a lot of eyebrows with decision making, and that really goes with David Temper all the way to GM and coaching. And like I said, we'll get further into it. I know during the show, but for me,
Yeah.
I, I'm about not having excuses. We say, "Oh, I should did woulda, coulda, shouldas," but when you really dissect everything that's going on through 7 weeks right now, there's a lot of
Okay.
answers that need to be answered um, by certain personnel and certain people on Mint Street.
Okay. So well, okay. I get you. And I guess what I was speaking on was before the season started. You
And
know,
that's where I'm going
yeah.
at with it
But
because
but 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 before the season was started. Now that the season has started, there's definitely some questionable decisions, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure in most of Panther Nation's um, opinion as well, that there are some things that needed to change. I understand that the one thing that everybody has talked about is Frank Wright calling plays, right?
Yes, sir.
That has been a hot topic ever since the preseason. Not even just week one. That's been a hot topic since the preseason.
Correct.
But I understand why he just didn't turn over the reins immediately right off the bat.
I think it
Cause
was
one, cause one, they don't have him and Thomas Brown. They didn't have a relationship. They didn't know each other.
correct.
He didn't know what if he can trust him with this responsibility, right?
Correct.
I was of the mindset at first. I was thinking, okay, after game one, after game two, after game three, I was like, okay, Frank, it maybe okay, maybe time to go ahead and do that because the kind of praise that he was putting on Thomas Brown, he was speaking as if Thomas Brown was ready for the moment right now. And if that's how you felt, or if that's how you feel, why not go ahead and do it right now? You know what I'm saying? Like if his conversation or his response wouldn't have been so glowingly positive about Thomas Brown, then I would have been like, okay, I could see him not doing it, whatever. It's gonna take some time. Maybe Thomas Brown need to show a little more or whatnot. But then when you go back and you look at the preseason, you see the difference between the first half and the second half.
Yes, sir.
But then also at the same time, like I told CJ one day, we were talking. I was like, it's easy to see that in the preseason because you have to think about this. In the second half, you're dealing with third and fourth stringers. So you're dealing with third and fourth stringers on offense as well as third and fourth stringers on defense. So you're not really comparing apples to apples, in my opinion. But now we're going to get an opportunity to see what he would do game type situations when it's one versus ones. And that's what I'm eager to see. I'm eager and I want to see the same type of plays that we saw being ran in training camp because I have spoken out loud that I don't know what offense that we ran the first 3 or 4 weeks, but it looked nothing like what we saw in training camp.
For me, Tony, I have been screaming from the rooftop, from the mountaintop, from the valley to the hills. Thomas Brown should have been calling plays day one, A1. And
Yeah.
um, my guy, Uncle Quan from the Paints Experience, when we went to that Saints game, I was adamant sitting in that stands. Why isn't Thomas Brown? And I was screaming like, even though we were lower bowl, I know there was no way Frank Wright could hear us. But it was just the fact of after we lost that Saints game, and some of our follow comrades that covered the Panthers were in the media room, and they asked him that hard question: do you think it's time for Thomas Brown to start calling plays week two after that Saints loss? And his response was, "It's not me. It's not the play calling. It's the players." And when he made that statement, and I heard it, I immediately reacted and said, Frank Reich is the issue. Frank Reich is the problem because
Mm.
we've already said it during the preseason that the play calling was very skeptical ever since since regular season has started. We ran the ball inside run every single play. Every first drive, every single first play is an
Yeah.
inside run. There's
Yeah.
no there's no play on the
Very predictable.
very predictable. There's no playing on the eyes.
Yeah.
There's no motion. There's no nothing. So
Yeah.
um, for me, I feel like it's a breath of fresh air. And I've always said Thomas Brown has been authentic and he's been real. He has not changed his demeanor since we've hired him or to the time that he's been called a play caller now. And another nugget for me with Thomas Brown is everybody, including myself, is saying CJ Stroud is the quarterback for Frank Wright. But if we go back to the Panthers huddle, they showed that Bryce Young was Thomas Brown's pick. So for me, in
Right.
my eyes, even with that, why didn't you just hand the keys over? If Thomas Brown was, if Thomas Brown pick was Bryce Young, why didn't you let Thomas Brown implement the offense that he saw his point guard, his quarterback running for this offense? So that's like you said, I think this is where that key cog or that key moment in Bryce Young's transition from college to the pros in his first year, but also the relationship between Thomas Brown and Bryce Young, because they've already met once this week to go over how things are going to go different or what's going to look different. So I'm definitely expecting on my end to see that interaction against Houston. How is Frank Wright reacting with the play calling? How is Thomas Brown reacting on the sideline whenever Bryce comes off, regardless if it's a score, a punt, or a turnover or downs or whatever? I'm just ready to see
Right.
that involvement, that engagement with those three gentlemen. Because
Right.
um, for me, I feel like we should already did a transition. We're 0-6. Not saying that Thomas Brown could have definitely, called some different plays, or I don't know what he could have done, but I know a couple of games that we had in our back pocket where we possibly could have won. Minnesota was one with different play calling, different schemes. Seattle, we were right there in the game. It's like I said, 0-6, I never saw coming out the gate. I definitely thought we'll possibly be maybe an even kill 3-3 at the least. But at the same time, I know it's a big target on Thomas Brown back coming off a bye. Everybody's gonna be happy for him to call plays, but I do think Thomas Brown is ready to take this responsibility on. I really think he is.
But let me ask you this. Do you think that he was ready at the beginning of the season, week 1 or week 2, when everybody was basically calling for it? I mean, and the reason why I asked that, because just think of it and just try to look at it from Frank Wright perspective. Here it is. This is Thomas Brown's first time being offense coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they never worked together,
Mm-hmm.
so they were still in that building relationship phase, feeling each other out. And the fact that Thomas Brown has been a part of the has been a major part of building the playbook up this season for the Panthers. He's kind of been hands on with everything except calling plays. Do you
Correct.
think that it was more that it was like a filling out type of thing, getting comfortable, making sure Thomas Brown was ready before Frank Wright just handed the reins over to him and just threw him out there to the wolves?
So for me, the opportunity could have been a preseason. If he implemented that playbook, which we know he did. The playbook was passed out, and whenever they talked about the playbook being passed out the day it did, he said Thomas Brown
Right.
basically had most of those plays in that playbook designated for this offense. So for me, I think, why didn't you take the opportunity to allow this man to show you what type of play calling he could do in the preseason? There was plenty of time. You even alluded to it, Tony. He called plays in the second and third half, or second and third quarter. My apologies, but
Yeah.
you never allowed him to actually call plays. Think about it, against the Jets, where we had our home opener. He never called any type of plays in the preseason, like you said, in meaningful snaps. It was always with depth pieces. Um, do I think he was ready? I'm not quite sure, and I will be honest, I'm not quite sure, but I do know he was the OC for the Miami Hurricanes in college.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
college and pros is two different leagues, but
Right.
I do know this as well. Sean McVay had a lot of trust in him when he was the assistant head coach, and
That's true.
he was with the passing game coordinator, and he worked with running backs and tight ends. And we know how the Rams have success, not recently because of, their roster turnover and the injury that have hit them. So for me, it's like, was it, again, I don't know if you heard me say the word ego. I really think Frank Wright's
Mm.
ego got in the way, where
I remember you saying that.
it's more of, it was pride. that I've been calling plays, and it even goes back to Frank Wright's introductory press conference. I'll be calling the plays. I've been doing it for a long time, but I do see the transition of how head coaches do not call plays anymore. One of the prime examples I would give to people, look at what Kansas City's doing right now. Look what the
Right.
Commanders are doing with Eric Bieniemy being gone, who was the offensive coordinator underneath Andy Reid in Kansas City, and look how both offenses look different right now. Yes,
Right.
the
Yeah.
Commanders, the Commanders did lay an egg against the Bills, but who would have thought Sam Howell and that offense would be doing what they're doing underneath Eric Bieniemy right now? So I think
I
Frank
mean, you
Wright,
bring forth a valid point.
yeah, I think Frank Wright realized it that it's time for him to go ahead and hand it off before he might be out in 1 year. But um,
I don't want to cast aspersion on them. I don't want to do them like that.
I mean, I don't know
You
because
think so?
I'll say this: when you already in the principal's office in your first year, the way that he is, David Temper, and like I said, we can talk about him later in the show, but I don't agree with how David Temper has went with some of these hires or his logic, or I want to know what his thinking is behind it. But trust me, David Temper
Yeah.
is tired of being in that negative limelight with fans and in the media. So
Mm, I got you. I got you. Let me go through some of these comments real quick before we go
go
on
ahead.
to the next topic of discussion. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, Quan. He said it was the plan all along to switch at the buy. Yeah, Quan. I call bullshit on that one because and here's why. Here's why. If it's easy for him to say that, and we're 0-6 right now. Okay. I don't dispute the fact that maybe he said to Thomas Brown, well, he was going to hand over the play calling at some point, but he just didn't know when. Because my thing is, what if Carolina was 3-3 or 4-2 right now? Will he be handing over the play calling to Thomas Brown at this point? Or will he feel like, you know what? The offense is humming. We winning. We putting points on the board. I'm gonna just keep doing my thing. Do you think that could have been the case, Doug, or do you think he was gonna give over the play calling at this point the whole time? I think I
Well,
already know the answer, but I
I
just want to
say
hear you
you
say.
already heard what I just said. He been called to the principal's office too many times, and I think a change should have been happened, but now it's like his back is against the wall. His back is against the wall really right now. And like I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
I'm not wishing that Frank Wright loses his job, but his back is against the wall right now.
Okay, Kenneth, what's going on, my boy? I know it's been a while since we did a live, but Kenneth, you always stand 10 toes down with us and always supporting us. So he said a lot of CYA going on. Yeah, yeah, I can see that, and to me personally, that's Frank Wright because he has a lot of, he got to cover his ass right now, you know, and I understand it. I understand it. Let's see. DZ said, "What up, bro? What up, DZ?
One of my guys,
Appreciate you
what's going on,
tuning in,
DZ?
man. Huh?
That's one of my guys. What's going on, DZ?
Oh, okay. Let's see who we got here. Shishi, what's good, peeps? What's good, Shishi? Thank you for tuning in, checking us out. Who else we got here? Lost Four Amigos, Holy Smokes, just in time. Yeah, Lost Four, you just in time, man. You let us know that you hadn't seen us do a live in the past couple weeks, so had to make sure that we get on it this week. All right, so let's see what else. Lost Four Amigos. I never thought the Bears would be this bad either, but here we both are. Facts. You know, hey, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Kenneth again. Agree L4A. Kenneth, I don't know what is L4A. Doug, you know what L4A is?
F who?
L4A.
Agree. L4A. Lies for it.
I don't know, Kenneth. You have to
And
you have
Ken,
to
you gotta let us know that
explain
one.
that.
Yeah, you gotta let
Yeah,
us
you
know
got
that
to.
one. I don't know that one.
Let's see what we got here. Lost for
Is it
Amigos
Loan
said Frank
Forever?
won his trial. Huh?
Is that it, Tony? Loan Forever?
I have no idea, my brother.
Okay.
I have no idea. Lost Four Amigos said Frank wanted Stroud. The owner wanted Bryce and other players. The owner is too hands on. Mm, I I can't say. I don't think he's too hands on. I honestly don't. I don't think he's too. So okay, but let me ask you this question. I see the way you're looking at me, Doug. Let me ask you this question. What's too hands on? Should he? Do you think he should just be completely silent and just sit back and write checks, or do you think he should be like a Jerry Jones, or maybe not like a maybe not like a Jerry Jones, but like a uh what's my man up in New England?
You talking about Robert Kraft?
Robert Kraft. Yeah. Should
All right,
should should he be somewhere in the middle?
all right. You want me to lie to you and be honest with you?
Come on, dog.
I'm,
Keep it
I'm, I'm,
100.
I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it 10 toes down, 100% authentic. David
All
Temper
right.
is another Jerry Jones, and what I mean by that is
Wow.
Jerry Jones. I live here in Arlington. Yes, on my channel, you will see I went to a couple of Cowboys events, just for the support that I've gotten out here in Texas. Jerry Jones, I'll just give an example. How would you feel? I'll say, let me be Jerry Jones and you're Mike McCarthy. Hey, Mike, just
Okay.
let you know, we just traded for Trey Lance. You did what? You traded for Trey
But
Lance.
what are we comparing that to? Because David Tepper
So
ain't
I'm,
did
I'm,
anything
I'm,
like
gonna give
that.
you, I'm gonna give you an example with David Temper. With David Temper, it has been his way or no way. He hired Matt Rule because why? He didn't hire Matt Rule based off of prestige, winning, or anything. He basically said he hired him. Why, Tony? He smelled like him. He looked like him. And he liked the guy, right? Then
I don't think that was all because well, okay. So this is the only time in life I will come to Matt Rule's defense. I remember Matt Rule when he was at Baylor. Cause my wife is a Baylor alum, so of course I watched plenty of Baylor games. And I remember when he was at Temple.
mm-hmm.
Both programs, both programs, he
We're trash.
brought out of the basement and made them good programs.
Reverend, yeah, he
He
did.
definitely took Baylor out the grave. You
He
know what I'm
did.
saying?
They were headed to the death penalty with everything they had going on.
So I can see why that could have been an attraction for a new owner to bring in someone that has a track record of rebuilding programs. That's the only thing I can. That's the
Okay,
only thing. That's all I got.
okay. So I'll give you that. I'll give you that with Matt Rule. So another point I look at is you saw it more with Nicole Temper than David Temper. Nicole is a part owner of the Tempers of the Carolina Panthers. But when you look at it, she was more of, oh, I just love Bryce. I just love Bryce. And that's one thing I think the Panthers showed us more that they were in love with Bryce. It was like, regardless if CJ Stroud could walk on gold, they were in love with Bryce. They're in love with his family, all this and that. There's no knock on Bryce. The knock that I have is with a owner like that, you can like one person and then you can't like the person can't do anything wrong. I'll give another example. Whenever he called Jonathan Mingo, why was that needed for you to say, hey, I called Steve Smith to ask Steve Smith who we should draft? It was just too much, when you know too much behind the scenes with certain things,
Hmm.
it was just like he was giving out too much. And I've always said this, I appreciate him opening the checkbook for the coaches that we're able to get because you open the checkbook for coaches does not hit the salary cap. But I do think
Right.
if you look at it, look how Jerry Richardson wasn't really involved in any type of decision. He entrusted Marty Herney in every decision that he needed to get that team when we did have Cam, when we did make the NFC Championship game, everything that Jerry Richardson did for the Carolinas, he
Okay.
wasn't really always, in the. I mean, he was in the draft room, but he wasn't always oh, I need to sit on this, or I need to have some input on this particular person joining the team. And that's the reason why I
Yeah,
compare. That's the reason why I compared David Tepper to Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones is in every transaction. And I made this comment with Dallas: until Jerry Jones gives that reign up, Dallas will not win a Super Bowl, because his ego and who he wants is going to jeopardize that team from not succeeding. And
wh-
I honestly think that with David Tepper, that's the way I look at it, just from my perspective. David Tepper
yeah.
is he's too handsies. You, I mean, you if you don't trust your GM, fire him. Get a quality GM. I think the worst thing that we allowed to happen for Carolina was um, to allow Bean, who's the GM for the Buffalo Bills, to go up in Buffalo with Sean McDermott. That's who I thought our GM should have been after Marty Ernie. Once we let Bean leave, I it didn't make sense to me. It did not make sense to me.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, all the points that you made are good points. The only disagreement I have, I cannot compare David Tepper to Jerry Jones. I don't think there's not an owner in the in the National Football League. Matter of fact, in pro sports, period, the only person I can say that came close to Jerry Jones was George Steinbrenner in the Yankees.
Yeah, George.
That,
Now, George was a hard one. George was
yeah,
a hard one.
yeah,
And
but
I'm a Yankee fan. I'm a Yankee fan.
yeah, me too, me too. But George Brenner got them championships behind him to back it
He
up.
do. He
You know
do.
what I'm saying?
He
He
do.
got those championships behind him to back him up. But I yeah, you brought forth some very valid points. I'm in my opinion, I'm just not ready to put David Tepper in the same category with Jerry Jones. I think that's I think that's a little
That's
extreme.
just me. Like I said, that's just me. And I see
Right.
you got a super chat. I can read if you want me to. Will Robinson,
Yeah.
I see what you said. You said flag on the play. I want an owner who cares and will spend the money and pay homage to our past greats. And Richardson made the finals. Richardson made the final decision on Cam. Cam confirmed it. Where I'm getting at is outside of that, of who cares, I think Jay Richardson definitely cared about our players. I think Jerry Richardson really cared about the city of Charlotte. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, with the personnel and the decision making that David Tepper has made, has been questionable. I just look at it as this. I wasn't an advocate for Steve Wilkes, but if your players play for this man, yes, I did not want Steve Wilkes to be our head coach. But if you're saying you want an owner that cares, those players fought for Steve Wilkes. So why did he listen to his players to hire Steve Wilkes back?
Yeah.
That's just a
Hey,
question.
Will Robinson, I want to thank you for the $10 super chat, man. We greatly appreciate that. And I think there was another one that you sent up here, the $5 super chat. So I want to say we appreciate you and thank you again for the $5 super chat. Said Frank is stuck in his ways. I predict a noticeable change in the offensive.
We definitely do.
Yeah, I had this talk with CJ a while back, and I told him, I said, you know what, I think Frank Wright wants to right some wrongs that he had when he was in Indianapolis. This is his second stint. He gets another opportunity to be in the head coach. We know when he was in Indianapolis, he didn't have a first round draft pick at quarterback. He brought Carson Wentz in from Philly. That didn't work out. Then he brought in Matt Ryan. We know how that turned out.
You got
So
Jacoby
now
Brissett too.
yeah, he had Jacoby Brissett as well. So now being in Carolina, had the first overall pick, get his quarterback, someone that he felt like he can groom, mature, and ride out with. I still think it's still too early to say what he would be as a head coach. Now I do think if he would have stayed stubborn and stayed in his ego or whatnot and continue to play calls for the rest of the season, I think that would have been a bigger indictment on him, not only as a head coach, but it also would have been a bigger indictment on as far as where is this team headed, and is he's the right choice to be the head coach moving forward. So I think by him passing the baton on to Thomas Brown, I hate to say it like this, but it takes some pressure off of him,
It
even if
does.
things don't go wrong. I mean, if
It
things
does.
don't go right, you
It
know what I'm
does.
saying? Because no one can say, okay, well, Frank is still calling plays. That's not true. Or this is not working because Frank is calling that. Well, that's not true either. You know what I mean? But I do think there's going to be some better offensive play uh with Thomas Brown calling plays. Let me get a couple other ones out the way. Let's
Okay.
see. Dig it, TBR said, unless Thomas Brown can lay hands on the injured and heal them, I don't know how much will change. That's facts. I agree with that because you know what? I saw a stat the other day, and this was before any games that have played this week, even before Thursday night game, before the Saints played. And it said that Carolina has scored more points
Than
than
any
any
NFC South
team
opponent.
in the NFC South.
Correct.
I looked at it and I went and looked at the stats, and we have 12 total touchdowns. We have 8 receiving, 2 rushing, and 2 pick six, right?
Yep.
We were the only team in the NFC South that has double digits in touchdowns.
That's a fact. That is a
But
fact.
then why we 0-6 and everybody else is 3-3 or whatever the case may be? Because our defense is the 31st ranked defense in
Yeah.
giving up total points in the league. That's crazy. And as much as we talk about the offense and the play calling and this and that, I've yet to hear or see anybody go in on the defense, the
And
run
Tony, you know the
game.
reason why? One thing for me, and I saw it. Shout out to your guy CJ. He is in the chat. CJ, I definitely appreciate both of y'all letting me come on, man. You definitely get well. Prayers up. Definitely can't wait till you come back, my guy, man. It's definitely an honor to, be temporary co-host with your guy Tony today, man. So I definitely appreciate you letting me fill in your seat for the day, man. But
Yeah, there you go.
yep, there you go. For
What's up,
me,
cuz?
a lot of people are not thinking of key injuries that have hurt this team right now.
Yeah,
Regardless of how people feel about Shaq Thompson is that vocal leader that you have that middle linebacker. Regardless if you think he's undersized linebacker, he's over the hill linebacker, losing him was a key cog for the communication. Then you have all these injuries in your DB room that a lot of people were skeptical of, a lot of things and a lot of signings that we did not sign some more DBs this offseason. You had JC Horn go down in your first game of the season. You had Dante Jackson get hurt. Now Jeremy Chin, who has not seen production, has probably not seen the field because he's hurt. Then you had your veteran and Von Bell going down. Then you had Xavier Woods go down. But more of our injuries have been on the
Shaq Thompson go down.
yeah. I said Shaq. Yeah, Shaq Tom. I mean,
Oh, okay.
you're missing that vocal leader.
Yeah,
So for me, I think people are giving it exception or not even thinking of the defense has been so terrible because of injuries that all the blame has been on Bryce Young and Frank Wright. One thing that people
right.
have to remember, we have no meetup up front other than Derrick Brown to stop the run.
Yep.
And that's where most of our issues have gone with this defense is stopping the run.
Yeah.
And a player that I'm hoping to see in person is JC Horn. I am praying that we get a positive report this upcoming week where he can practice because Frank Wright did say Xavier Woods and JC Horn are way ahead of schedule, and it has surprised them how their bodies have healed. So if we do get reinforcements to help that defense, that does help. But I think again, and I will say it, Scott Fitterer has to answer some of these personnel questions that we had. You didn't add any bulk. You did add a DB that we needed. Oh, he gone. You did add a DB that we needed, but at the same time, some of these signings are head scratchers, or some of these names that were out there we didn't bring in that could have helped this defense.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And it just amazed me that even with Thomas Brown calling the plays now, and you see better production out of the offense, and you know we putting up 24, 21, 24, 27 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's all for not if your defense is giving up 28 points a game. You know,
24 is
if your
always my number
defense,
every Sunday, Tony. If we can score 24, that is my number every Sunday.
it's
Every
like, but it right, but if your defense can't, if we can score 24, but your defense is giving up 27, it's all for naught. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole point. Like, I understand that, there were changes that need to be made offensively. I get that, and I agree with it 110%. But we can't just put all the blame on Frank Wright and Bryce Young and not think about what's happening defensively, because irregardless of what, you get paid to play the game.
correct.
You are at the highest level that you can obtain, that's in the NFL. You got to go out and ball, man. You got to go out and ball. And the thing that has killed me the most about this team this year defensively is they can't tackle.
That though, well, but
They
Tony,
can't.
that's been an issue
I
before
know.
before rule. That's been an issue with, and I've said this to client, and it's crazy you say that point. I tell you can get every player that you need. Our tackling has been terrible since day one. Terrible. Like I don't understand. Like I said, for me, whenever I was in college being a GA, you had the tackling dummies, you had the rolling wheels. I don't understand why our tackling has been so terrible every year. Every year it's been terrible.
Yeah, it has. It has. It's been a while since we actually seen some good tackling from the defense. I'm talking about. I can't remember. I'm talking about when we had KK Short and Starlet Tulare on the
Yes, sir.
front line.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
we haven't, in my opinion, haven't had consistent bona fide tackling on the defensive side of the ball since then. And it shows, because if you can't tackle, forget about stopping the run. You can't stop the run, and you can't even tackle when you in position to stop the run. I can't tell you how many times this year alone we've had a running back tackle for loss in the backfield,
It pushes
and
off.
he
It
somehow
slips away.
magically bounces off either left or right and score a touchdown or gain big yardage.
See, Tony, I'm gonna even allude to
Like,
that point when you brought up Starla Tulare and KK Short. Guess who was their defensive coordinator? Who's now a head coach? Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott. Yeah,
And then what is one of the points with Buffalo? They have a stuffed, stingy, dirty defense that people do not like going against.
yeah,
So that I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Like I said, the points, every point that we're making, the proof is right there, and it's crazy. It's
it
crazy.
is. It is. So, all right, so moving on, let me ask you. Okay, Kenneth said we stick and blame on coaches when we got injuries, penalties, and players who can't tackle, run their plays, or drop passes.
And that's what we're
All
just saying.
facts.
That's what we just said. If I definitely
All
appreciate you
facts.
pointing that out.
Wait, receivers got super grip gloves, but they can't get open.
Well,
That point.
yeah,
That point. Kenneth, you own one today, my boy.
yeah.
All right. Hey, so let's move on to our next topic at hand. And I think this is another touchy subject. People have been speaking about it on Twitter since the beginning of the season, and that is, will Brian Burns be traded? And let me ask you this: do you think Brian Burns should be traded?
Now, yes. Should he have been
Why?
traded earlier? Yes. Um, which part you going to go into first? Why he should be traded?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Why he should be traded? Give me your reason on that.
The reason why, and I don't know if you can see it. This is Brian Burns signed right here. I'm a Brian Burns fan. I have I have
Right.
I have his picture coming out the tunnel signed. I have a Brian Burns jersey in my closet.
Me
Um,
too.
it's nothing against Burns. I think you need trade value now. I mean, you need draft value,
Yeah,
and
you need draft capital.
um,
Draft capital.
for the way that he's played, he only he's only as good as his opposite DN, if that makes sense. If you look at it, when he had Hassan Reddick, he did great. And that does go to Scott Fitter for not pairing him with another great defensive end as well. But him by
But
himself,
did he? But did he though? Because that year when he played with Hassan Reddick, he only had 9.5 sacks.
that's still
The
good to me.
following,
I mean, to
yeah,
me,
that's
that's
still
still
good. But I'm saying that the following year, without Hassan Reddick, he
yeah. It
had
was that
12 and a half.
yeah, I would say yeah, 11, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, still, I'm gonna stay with that thought because I still think he still needs that helpmate or that particular player to help him because by
right.
himself he's getting double teamed. He's not impactful. We can see TJ Watt whenever he just played the Baltimore before their last game before the bye. You saw how impactful he was in that last play to win his team the game. You see what Joey Bosa is able to do. You saw Khalil Mack had 6 sacks this past year already, has the most sacks in any game. I forgot what the statistics, but 6 sacks in one game. So for
That's
me,
crazy.
that it's nothing against what he's already done. It's just more of he's not that impactful DN. And I understand the reason why we were trying to go after McDonald out of Iowa State to be that other DN on the opposite side of Brian Burns. But I'm a flash back into the fall or go. Let's just go back last year. We should have traded for those first 2 round picks if you were not going to re-sign him by now, because now you're going to have to pay out the wazoo to get him on a new contract. Then even for number 2, we saw what DJ Moore was able to do against the Commanders, single-handedly win a game. Yes, he had to have a quarterback give him the ball, but why wouldn't you pair your rookie quarterback with one of the best receivers in the league when he has not had a top caliber quarterback like Bryce Young?
Cause you
Because if
couldn't.
I'm not mistaken, they either asked for Derek Brown, Brian Burns, or DJ Moore. You could have gave up Brian Burns and possibly did not have to give up so much draft capital, where you could have kept some of those picks for this upcoming draft and then possibly drafted DN in this upcoming draft. Not DJ Johnson, another caliber DN, but again, it's just, to me, we lost that trade. I will go ahead and say we lost that trade because we could have kept DJ Moore and traded Brian Burns, and that could have helped the growth of Bryce Young. Because again, we did not pay Brian Burns, and I'm trying to figure out what is the holdup. I understand why now, because of the value that he wants 30 million. You're not producing 30 million, my guy. You're not.
Right,
You're not
right.
producing 30 million.
So my thing on it is strictly we need the draft capital. Just flat out. And CJ and I had this conversation a while back. When we were looking at the top 5 defensive ends and what were the average salary and stuff like that, and we saw what Harold Landry had got for the Tennessee Titans. And then I think Max Crosby got the last big deal right before well, yeah, I think Max Crosby got the last big deal. I think he was like at 24.5 million per year. And we were saying, basically I thought that Brian Burns would fall, production wise, based off his production,
Yeah,
will fall in that Max Crosby, Hal Landry, that second tier of all outside linebackers, defensive ends. I did not think whatsoever he would get the type of money that TJ Watt, Nick, or Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, because he's not that impactful.
he's not.
He doesn't impact games like that. Like even when they don't get a sack, they impact plays. They impact the quarterback each and every time they're in the game. And to me, that's a whole nother level of outside linebacker defensive end that he just not there yet. Now, if there's some other team that's willing to pay you, you know, 2 first round draft picks or at least a first round draft pick and a couple other picks to get him, I would do it simply for the fact that you need the draft capital. You don't have a first round pick this year, and you need to build around your rookie quarterback.
Well, Tone, let me say this because, like I said, whenever we talked about the state of the Carolina Panthers, there are reports and rumors. There's nothing that has been, verified right now. But the one trade, I'm gonna give you two trade partners. I read an article yesterday. The one that I already read when I reported on the state of Carolina Panthers is the Baltimore Ravens giving us a first and a third for Brian Burns. I will go ahead and take that right now. I mean, you can't get any other value. You already lost your two firsts with the Los Angeles Rams. You cannot beat a first round pick and a third round pick for Brian Burns. Um, the Nets report, I'm probably going to shock you with it because if we do that, that's where I think we got fleeced. The Chicago Bears are interested in Brian Burns. And that's where I
Mm-hmm.
say we got fleeced out of that trade because you could have already took care of this in the beginning of the season or in the offseason when you got the pick for Bryce Young. You could have traded Brian Burns, whatever first, whatever, and kept some of those picks back rather than you trading all the first and future picks that you did with DJ Moore. And I will
You talking about the for the trade that the Rams wanted
no for the
last year?
Bears, no for the Bears because the
That
Bears
they okay.
because yeah, the Bears are actually engaged or are trying to engage with Carolina to get Brian Burns now, and that's
Hmm.
what I'm saying. Like it's crazy for that even to be thought of where you had the opportunity to trade him away to get the first round pick, to get the first overall pick.
Yeah. I I I thought when Carolina didn't re-sign Brian Burns before the season,
Hmm.
and after they picked up his fifth year option last year, so now he's in his 5th year, and then you didn't re-sign him before the season start. I thought that they played themselves
We
because
did
you showed your hand initially saying that you want this guy, you're going to sign him, you're going to do whatever it takes to make sure Brian Burns is a Panther long term, but then you don't follow through on your word.
correct.
At this point in time, I understand that this is a transactional business, right? The NFL is a transactional business, and at the end of the day, it's a business. No matter how much of a game that we watch and we, the way that we look at it, it's still a business when you talk about millions of dollars that you're going to hand out to someone to play a game. So you have to also look at it from that point of view. And in my opinion, I think they allowed the price. I think they allowed the value to reach a point that they weren't willing to
Hey,
meet Brian Burns at, because he understands his value.
he
He
does.
understands his worth, regardless of whether you want to pay it or not. Because here's the thing: he may not be worth $30 million to any other team in the league, but to Carolina, to what he means to Carolina, what he means to this fan base, what he means to the team, he's worth that $30 million. You know what I mean? Like you can be worth more to a one particular team than you are to the rest of the league, because that's how that team sees you. And I think they helped build Brian Burns up to that point to where that player is now like, okay, well, I think I'm worth up here to be with TJ Watt and Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa. But Carolina didn't want don't want to meet him there.
They didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
think they
think
were only at
Carolina
27. Was it 27, Tony? They were looking at
I think he was one 27, 28, and Carolina was at like 23 or 24.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So
and I see Kenneth's comment. I'm not a negative person with my Panthers, and it might sound in my tone that I'm being negative, but it's just how the season has played out. Trust me, I'm not negative at all. I'm more the optimistic. I tell people this is patience. I've been preaching patience. You cannot rush the process. You really have to trust the process, trust it through, because if you rush it, it's going to be all for nothing. You're going to have to rebuild again. So
Yeah.
I just want it to be done correctly, have the right people in the right places to help this team get to what the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing right now, what the Detroit Lions are doing right now. It took the Detroit Lions 3 years to get where they are right now. It took
Okay, but on that, now that you say that, do you feel like the criticism, a lot of the criticism that Frank Wright is getting and Scott Fitterer is getting is warranted? Because like you just
on
said,
Scott it
this
is.
this this is, but no, but honestly, I can't say that either. And the reason why is because this is the first year that Scott Fitterer was not micromanaged to the point to where he got to select the picks that he wanted in the
Okay, you
draft.
said it. Okay, so I give you an example. Outside of Zavala um and Bryce, obviously,
And
DJ
Jonathan
Jones.
Mingo.
I'm gonna get about. That's the two names I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Jonathan Mingo.
Okay.
What has he done so far this season?
I mean,
Out of all the
yeah,
receivers, out of all the receivers, Tony, that we could have gotten that have produced that were drafted behind him, look what Tank
like
Dell.
Tank Dell.
Tank, you said you see the name that I just still admit. Great minds think alike. Like you hit me up and said, that's one name that I just said. That's what I'm saying. The one player for me is DJ Johnson. I do not understand the project with that man. I mean, we could have got Kelly Ringo right now. What do we need right now? We need DB help.
Hey, I've been a big proponent of Kelly Ringo. I've been screaming that before even the draft, and then when the draft happened and he was still sitting there in the third round, and we traded up for DJ Johnson, I about lost my shit. I have you ask CJ. Listen, I was stomping for Kelly Ringo. I don't know why he was still there in the third round, but listen, you talking about a 3 year starter at Georgia, not Georgia State or Georgia Southern, Georgia,
We're
six
talking about
two
Exit.
205, run a 4.35 40.
So
Whatever. Hey,
that's what I'm saying.
listen,
You saying no, not Scott Fitter. Then I look, excuse me. Then I look at TMJ, a wide receiver that was already injury prone before he came in the league, was injured while he was in the league. Now he's requesting a trade. Then you got Jeremy Chin, who we drafted underneath Scott Fitterer, who now you go to 3-4 defense, regardless of him not being hurt, you don't even utilize him in a skill position. Then it's just so many names. Look at Ian Thomas. Look at Tommy Trimble. Then you overpaid a Miles Sanders, who my guy Quan, since we went to training camp, he was saying Chuba should start over Miles Sanders. Then we could have had
mm,
Deontay Foreman come back, that power back that you alluded to that we don't have on this offense. You went and got
yes.
overpaid for a running back for what? Like I said, the only bright point that I will give him, and I will give him that, sign him Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen has tasted the fountain of youth. Like I
Yeah.
said,
That's
really tell me what Scott Fitterer has done as a GM. You saved all this money for what? You save all this money for what? To shop at a bargain store? Because that's where I
like
said with Carolina, we never get tier one guys that can actually help. It's always tier two, tier three. It's never anybody that is actually a tier one guy that can actually come out the gate and help this team.
mm, I get you. Well, I'll say this. This is what I say about Scott Fitterer. No GM is going to come out just batting 1,000. They're not going to hit on every draft pick. They're not going to hit on every free agent. For this being his first year, I give him grace because, in my opinion, this is his first year being solely responsible for draft picks and free agents. Like I said, we only at week 7. This ain't even the season isn't even over yet to get a full evaluation on what it could be or what it couldn't be. I just think maybe we give it a full year and give it next year, through draft and free agency for him to get in the groove and get to implementing the type of players that him and Frank Wright and Coach Evero and Thomas Brown, what they need to build his team offensively and defensively.
Correct.
That's my only thing. Like I said, like I don't think he's as bad as people make it out to be. I don't think he should be on the hot seat. I think every GM makes questionable decisions, whether it's in free agency or the draft. I just think the man just, we need to just give him a little bit more time, be a little bit more grace, just a little bit more grace. That's all. That's all. So
Well,
we are kind of check on. Let's see some of these comments right here. Let's see. Go back up here. Rock Jones said, like that positive thinking, Blair. Talking about Kenneth Blair. We need more of that in Panther Nation. Kenneth Blair says, I don't think Burns is playing at 30 mil level, 24 mil level. He needs help or partner in crime. That's what you alluded to, Doug. He definitely needs another partner in crime,
good.
legitimate partner in crime, because what's his name right now? Number
Oh,
50.
you talking about Justin Houston?
Yeah, Justin Houston. Uh, I'm shocked that that situation is what it is right now. But hey, 34-year-old, you know, part-time defensive end. I mean, it's not going to get you but so far. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rock Jones said the truth is something is not right with this team. I'm not enough heart and desire going on with our team's demeanor. That can there could be some truth to that. See, lost for Amigos. Mingo looks like a bust. No, I can't say that. Lost for. I don't think he looks like a bust. I think he had a better game this past week against Miami. Then I think that's his best game thus far. Even before he had the concussion since he came back. I think he ran his routes a little bit more crisp and with a little bit more sense of urgency. I think I I honestly think that maybe he was thrown into the fire a little bit earlier than expected. You know, looking confused, not knowing, the position where he need to be at on the field or what have you. I think that all that comes with time. What you think about that, Doug?
Time again, patience. But at the
Yeah.
same time, certain people need to be held accountable and not given chance after chance after chance. Like I said, I am preaching patience. I like what Mr. Blair said, Mr. Kenneth said. I am expecting a more aggressive offense coming out underneath Thomas Brown, a player that started out hot but has not heard his name lately. Is Hayden Hurst, with him being a tight ends coach out there
Right.
in LA. I definitely expect to see more of Hayden Hurst coming out the gate after the bye. I do think there's gonna be a change of guard with Chuba Hubbard taking more rushes from Miles Sanders because I think
Yes.
Miles Sanders is still hurt. Um, it is time for just me, DJ Chart, and um, Jonathan Mingo to display their physiques and their traits as wide receivers. We know what is DJ Chart. He's a speedster. He's your vertical threat, and
Stretch the field. Yeah.
stretch the field. And I'm not going to put too much on Jonathan Mingo, but he reminds me a little bit of DJ Moore that can take a hit and bounce off and continue to run through and get some yak. So I'm definitely
Yeah.
looking to see how this offense does look more aggressive. And I am optimistic that they are going to look aggressive. But it took patience and it took time for this team to get here. Again, like we opened up, I think Frank Wright could have transitioned this handoff to Thomas Brown earlier. But if we do get players back from injury, I definitely think this team, not gonna say do damage, but this team is definitely gonna look different coming out the bye.
Yeah. Well, I definitely can't wait to see it, my boy. I definitely
Yes,
can't
sir.
wait to see it. Kenneth Bless said, "Hold my tea. NFC South is still up for grabs. We needed this bye. I predict a rested, more aggressive team." Well, hey, I'm right with you, Kenneth. I hope so. I hope so. Cause we got 3 winnable games coming out of this bye with Houston, Chicago, and Indianapolis. So if we can grab all 3 of those or two out of three, hey, I think we're in a prime position to turn a negative into a positive this second half of the season. Okay, what we got here? She said all blame shouldn't be put on Bryce. We're a cohesiveness in the team. I
Facts.
agree. I agree. And honestly and truly, Bryce has been playing.
Better.
Bryce Young has been getting incrementally better. I probably didn't say that word right, but he's been getting better a little bit each and every week,
Each and
and
every week.
that's even even in the midst of this 0-6, and there's no light. Looks like at the end of the tunnel. That's the one thing that I believe that we can look at and say that he is definitely getting better each and every week, and there should never, ever, ever, ever be any question about his size and toughness again.
Correct.
That should be laid to rest. That's just over and done with. All
I agree,
right.
Tony. I agree.
So let's see. Kenneth said our teams on the sideline is flat soda in the hot sun. We just need a player or two to get the hype up. Change the attitude to say. Let's say I like Bryce. He has the talent. Agreed. Whoa, Tony. Something like 5 contributors out of 22 picks. Not looking good for 50. Yeah, I feel you, Rob. But like I was saying earlier to Doug, I can only really I can only really put I ain't gonna say put blame. I can only really hold Federer accountable for this year's draft. Not the two, 2 or 3 that he had with Matt Rule, because we all know at the end of the day who was really running and really behind selecting those draft picks when Matt Rule was there. But this year was the first year where he, as a general manager, in my opinion, had full control to make the picks that Frank Wright, Thomas Brown, Ejiro Rivero wanted for this team going forward. And we started the draft with only 6 picks. Then, for whatever God reason, we traded up for DJ Johnson. Now we only have 5 picks.
I
So it's
said
not like we had a whole plethora of picks, to work with from the beginning. But I get your point, but I don't think it's fair to hold Scott Federer feet to the fire for something that he didn't have control over for the past 3 or 4 years. This year, no doubt, 110%. Let's see. Oh, it's all right though, Tom. Tar Heel and Gamecocks rarely agree except keep out with that
no.
Panthers.
So I saw that. So Tony, are you a heel? Or are you a Gamecock?
Oh, I'm a Tar Heel all day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, baby. All
All
day.
day.
All
I
day.
roll with the Tar Heels all day.
We looking good. Like I said, we own the Gamecocks for this year, so we really can't.
Oops.
I don't really want to hear that.
Let's see. My bad. Thielen is the only wide receiver getting separation. Yeah. And, you know, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I did say earlier this season, we had a video, a segment that we had about who was going to be the wide receiver one. And I said Adam Thielen. He has the resume. And, there was nobody else on the resume on this team that had a resume like Adam Thielen to make me believe that they can be a wide receiver one. Now, is he a wide receiver one on any other team? Probably not. But as far as the Carolina Panthers, he's the best receiver on this team. And I said that even before the preseason. And he's ringing true right now.
Fountain of youth.
He's ranked.
He's found the fountain of youth.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely that dude. B Amos. What's up, B Amos? Hey man, we haven't seen you in a while. Again, apologize. B Amos has been rocking with us from the beginning, man. I know we haven't put out any videos consistently in the past week or two. Definitely had some situations going on. But we definitely back. Definitely glad to see you back, my boy. And let's see. Ken said Bryce has taken the Mike Tyson uppercut and he is headed to the 10th round. Bryce was a good draft pick already. I believe that wholeheartedly. Okay. So Doug, let me ask you this. With all that we have said about our team, 0-6 start,
Yep.
changing of the guard, as far as offensive play calling and the countless injuries that we are facing and whatnot, do you think the season can be saved? And I'm not meaning as far as ending up with a winning record. Do
Mhm.
you think that basically can the season end on a positive note?
Yes, absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, it's already transitioned into that. The only thing that I am afraid of is losing coaches. But Frank
Right.
Wright already took that step into the next chapter in the book underneath Frank Wright. He handed the play calling off to Thomas Brown. Your quarterback, regardless of how people feel about him, is getting better by the week. He's looking like
Yes.
the reason why we drafted Bryce Young. The camaraderie that he's getting with his wide receivers, I think is happening based off of injuries during the preseason. DJ Chark was hurt. Terrence Marshall was hurt if he is still with us. Jonathan Mingo is a rookie. So you're seeing that cohesiveness with your quarterback and your weapons. Defensive
Right.
wise, I'm expecting a player that I love, JC Horn, to be back and showing people why he is elite. It was a freak injury in Atlanta. It was on turf. I'm hoping we all go to grass here soon. Um,
Yeah,
there, there,
yeah.
there, there,
That's
there
another
has been.
topic for another day right
It
there.
is. It definitely is. But to answer your question, all in all, yes, I do think um, this season's going to end on a positive. I'm not going to say we're going to win a division. I'm hopeful, but I'm not naive. We're only 3 games out. We're only three
Right.
games out.
Right.
Anything is
Exactly.
possible. Anything is definitely possible. With all the injuries that have been going on throughout everybody else's team, we've been hit pretty hard. But again, I think once we get that first win underneath our belt, which I do think for the Hall of Honor game, that is going to start to train. Yes, you got the Cowboys in the midst there. Then you got back-to-back road games. In a division, I still think, well, not back to back home road games. You got Atlanta and Tampa Bay back to back division games, but I do think there are definitely wins on the schedule, and I think we've already started that transition of closing chapter 1 and 2, and the story's about to change here in 3 and 4.
Yeah. I agree with you. I definitely think the season can end on a positive note. Um, like I said, coming out of the bye, there are three winnable games right off the bat when you're talking about Chicago, Indianapolis, and
Houston.
Houston. That's right, Houston, Chicago, Indianapolis.
Hmm.
So I think if we can get all three of those, or at least two out of those three, and get some positive momentum going, we get some of these guys back defensively, from being injured or whatnot. I think when Austin Corbett comes back, hopefully for the Houston game, and solidifies that right side of the offensive line, I think we're gonna. I think we're going to start seeing the team that we were hoping to see from week one. That's what I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that we start seeing the team, or at least start seeing the production that we were hoping to see from the at least from the offensive side of the ball, and hopefully the defensive side of the ball can catch up. Until we do something about the middle of that defense, it's gonna be a long season.
It
And
is.
right now, I don't see what they can do unless they're gonna switch out Shot Tuttle and Derek Brown and put Derek Brown in nose guard.
And and,
That that
and,
that
and,
that's
that, and that wasn't supposed to happen this year.
right. Exactly. Exactly. But I do want to mention on that, Marquand McCall put out a video on Twitter last week of him doing training at a local high school, and he said he waiting by the phone, waiting for that call, and he hashtag I ain't hurt. So hey,
I
Scott
ain't gonna say
Fitterer,
that. You see my smile. I ain't.
yeah,
Hey,
right. I'm like, some we need to right or wrong somewhere. We need
yep.
to right or wrong somewhere.
You need.
He
I
may
also
not
say,
been a good fit, whatever the reason may have been, at that time. But not having him there, you really are getting exposed.
but
You
I'm
are truly
I'm
getting
sure Dave
exposed.
Gettleman said we need that hog molly, and I actually love when he gave us that term. I never heard that term before till he became our GM. We don't have any hog mollies up there. Derek Brown is really not a hog molly. He's a great defensive, but he's not your sloppy hog molly type of D tackle,
Right. No.
nose guard, dirty, you know, lineman that you need. And
Right.
and that's what this defense is truly missing.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go through some of these. The Panthers could use a couple of those 5-7 water bugs on Southern Cal roster. I did dig it. I don't know what you're talking about right there, but okay. Lost for Amigos said no, it's done. Just hope that Bryce improves.
Yeah,
We're gonna keep hope alive. We're gonna keep hope alive. See, Kenneth Bless said the team will heal. Rookies will get experience. Bryce will get experience. How can the season not end in positivity? We will cut the fat and draft the beef. Sounds good to me. Los Four Amigos said injury is excuse. Bears have had the most. Just got the weather storm and next man up. Yeah, that
that's
you're
a
not
fact.
lying right there, huh?
I said that's a fact. And we
Yeah.
got weather the storm.
Let's see. Rock Jones said bring back a grass field to the bank and a new stadium. Start a petition. Okay. Diggett said wide receivers. All right. Don't know what you mean by that, Diggett, but okay, cool. All right. So let's do this. Let's grade the rookies. As a whole, this rookie draft class thus far, leading up to the bye week, through the bye week. So we're talking about the first six weeks. They've only had six games played.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the rookies as a whole? What would be your grade for the rookies as a whole?
C
Our
minus.
rookie drafts, not undrafted rookies, but
C minus.
just not draft picks.
C
C
minus.
minus. Yeah, yeah, I had to give it a C minus too. I can't say C because Chandler Savala has only given us 2 games worth of game action.
Starting wise,
With
yeah.
starting wise. Um Mingo missed the game.
Bryce missed the
DJ
game.
John huh?
Bryce missed the game. Mingo
Yeah,
missed
Bryce
the
missed
game.
the game.
DJ
Mingo missed the
Johnson has not
game.
dressed. Jamie Robinson has not dressed.
DJ has gotten in a couple games. He's
DJ
gotten in a
who?
couple games. DJ
DJ
Johnson.
has not gotten in the game.
Yes. 52. DJ
DJ Johnson has
got
not gotten in the game, Tony. I
I
promise you.
promise you, DJ Johnson got in the game against the Dolphins.
Oh well, if you're gonna say, well,
I mean, he
I,
got he got
okay. I'll give you that. Out of and what week was that? What week was
that
that?
week 5, that well week 6. That was week 6. That was last week. Yeah.
Again,
That was
when
last week.
it took 6 weeks.
Yeah, 6.
So like I
He
said,
didn't
I refrain from saying it. I was wrong with that one, but it took 6 weeks for
okay.
this man to hit the field.
Right. And Jamie Robinson hasn't even been active.
Active, not at all.
Not at all. So yeah, C minus, damn near borderline a D, to be honest.
I was thinking it D, but I said, nah, I'll keep it. That was the first thing that came to my mind. Like when you were saying the grade, I was just waiting until you got done. I was gonna say a C minus regardless. I wasn't gonna go as low as a D yet. Only way I would have went to a D if Bryce just was not it. That's the only way I
And
would have.
I was just getting ready to say that because he has played every game except one, and the level of production that we're getting from him each week that he does play,
Mhm.
we're seeing significant improvement. So yeah, I have to that kind of Bryce play kind of washes out DJ Johnson and Jamie
Jamie
Robinson.
Robinson, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So yeah, I'll go with that. I'll go with that. So what's your grade for the team? Offensive. So give me the offensive, defensive, and special teams. You can start with the easy one first. You go special teams first.
Special teams, I'll give it a B minus.
B.
Hecker.
Wow.
I'll say reason I'll give it a B minus is because Hecker was top three in total coverage with punts. Now he fell off. I don't know if it's age or the coverage. Now he's just number 10. That's the only reason why. Other than the kick against Miami, I think we needed that kick last week. It kind of could have helped the momentum. Eddie Pereiro missing that kick was crucial. Um,
Yeah.
with I don't think we really utilized what is his name? The wide receiver, kit returner out of
Oh,
is
is Ismir
yeah. So with him, you also have two other people. You got Tariq Cohen and you got Blackshear. We have not used. I'm ready to see if we're going to use Tariq Cohen. Why did you sign him? Did you just sign him for a feel good story, or you signed him because the human joystick could actually do something on special teams for you? So that's the reason
I think yeah, I think we're going to see Tariq Cohen after this bye.
yeah, I'm ready to see
I
what
think they had to give him some time. I mean, the man hasn't played in like 3 years. He got to get back in now on the game shape. I mean, he had a pretty significant injury to where this young man thought his career
was over.
was over.
Hmm.
So I guess they want to make sure that they sure before they stick him out there. So I'm not mad at that because he hasn't been on the field in 3 years, and it's not like he's been with the team at the beginning of the year, and then we wondering why he hasn't played. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
So
I give them a little grace on that for the special teams. I give it a B. I give it a solid B.
so I'll give you this. So I'm gonna go defense. Defense is a D. Reason why I get a defense a D. Can't stop the run. You can't help injuries have hurt you, but you always have to have that next man up mentality. And couple games that I've went to in games I did play by play with my guy Uncle Quan. It's just the execution. And like our guy Tony said right here, bad tackling has cost us games, cost us tackles for loss, where we could have stopped the running back in the backfield. It could be drive stoppers, but we're not wrapping up. So for me, with everything that's going on with that defense, it's definitely a D for me. Definitely a
Yeah.
D.
I agree. I was trying to think of something slick to say, but I was like, no, I agree. I agree 110%. I don't need to add nothing else to that. The defense. It is what it is at this point. So what you think about the offense?
I'm gonna give it a C. Reason why I'm gonna
You
give the
see?
offense a C, regardless of what people think about Icky, he's still in his second year. Icky and Taylor Moton have done a great job. I think Taylor Moton just gave up his first sack of the year last week against Miami. The offensive line outside of Icky and Taylor Moton has been up and down. Um,
Yeah.
Adam Thielen, again, I did not expect him to drink from the fountain of youth. He's exceeded my expectations as the wide receiver. Um, and then I look at what Chuba was able to do just this past week, just with one game sample size. I think he went 14 rushes for 89 yards. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously Bryce, after he got set down in Seattle, came back with Minnesota. Bryce again has gotten better every game. It hasn't been just like, oh, he's slightly no. He's gotten best every week, and he continues to trend upward. So I would give our offense a solid C, not a C minus, not a C plus, a solid C right now.
Yeah, I can go with that. The biggest surprise for me offensively has been Chuba Hubbard. I did not see this coming. Because I have been hard on Chuba Hubbard ever since we drafted him. I didn't think it was a good draft pick at the time. At the
Correct.
time that we did take Chuba Hubbard, I wanted Khalil Herbert out of Virginia Tech that went to the Bears. I
Mm-hmm.
thought he was a better running back prospect than Chuba Hubbard. But each and every year, Chuba Hubbard has gotten a little bit better each year he has been in Carolina. So even with this season, he has been the best running back, hands down by far, that we have had. And I think
That's a fact.
going forward, I think Chuba needs to be the starting running back. That's my opinion.
You remember I
Um,
said that. I said that. I said, but Miles coming back, Miles just might got to take a step back until he's fully healthy.
yeah, yeah. Well, me and CJ was talking about this. Even before Miles got hurt, when he had that crucial fumble in the game, I think it
That Detroit.
was it the Saint Detroit? Yeah, before this was before he got hurt, when he had that crucial fumble against Detroit, and I think Chuba Hubbard only had like 10 carries that game, but he was averaging like 5.8 yards per carry.
I
You
mean,
know, it was
even go back when the Saints game, Chuba Hubbard only got 2 carries.
right, exactly. But this just this past week against Miami, we abandoned the run way too early. He had 19 carries for 88 yards. Okay, you got a 14 to nothing lead. The run game is working. Why not rely on that? Because the
Facts.
last thing that you want to do is give the Dolphins too much time on the clock. You want to milk the clock. You want to milk the clock as much as possible. Get him field goal range, or at least get better field position to where you even had to punt the ball. You could pin the Dolphins back or whatever. I just think that they got away from the run game because they was up 14 nothing. If you look at those first two or three drives, that's when
That's
Chuba
exactly.
had most of his rushing
And
of his
those two
carries.
drives ended up in what touchdowns?
Yeah, exactly. So there was a working formula, and for some odd reason, we got up to those 14 points and we went away from that formula.
Facts.
So, but I just think Chuba has shown and proven enough to where he can go out there, he can carry the ball 20-25 times a game. I think the combination with him and Raheem Blackshear, that was the best offensive output in my opinion, even
For
though you
running backs
won't
this season, yeah.
say it. Yeah, I think that was the best running back tandem that we've had thus far this year with him and Raheem Blackshear.
See that's the reason I'm ready to see what Tariq Cohen brings because again, the human joystick, which is his nickname, once he was able to do that, where he was at Chicago, I think this is me personally. Tariq Cohen was what Tariq Hill is now. He was unstoppable, even with his height being so short. It was so hard to game plan for him because he can take a pass just like Tariq Hill can take a pass to the house. He can take a catch. He can take a punt. All that, and I think if he is healthy and he did not lose a step, Tariq Cohen can be that same Tariq Cohen that he was for Chicago.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm definitely hoping to see. I'm definitely hoping that he comes back with that hunger to prove the doubters wrong, with that chip on his shoulder,
Yes,
and
sir.
show you I am that dude. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So I definitely can't wait to see how he is utilized once he becomes active, and I'm hoping that he touches the field against Houston.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's see. Rock Jones said, I like number 11 fearlessness, but we need a joke in the punt return game. Emir Smith
Yep.
Marset. That's what I
Yep.
couldn't think of his name.
That's
But
him.
yeah, I see him. Yeah. But also he's another one that could take the top off of defense. I don't know, and I don't understand why we haven't utilized him as a wide receiver. Because
He,
not only was he known for his kick returning in the preseason, he
he was
showed
a leading
good
receiver.
skills
He was a
as
leading
a
receiver.
receiver.
He was a leading receiver in the preseason.
So I like if you are looking for that, and again, I'm hoping this is what Thomas Brown will bring to the offense with his play calling. I'm hoping that we can see some of that. I would love to see him and DJ Chark both on the field together on opposite sides.
Yeah.
You got to give the defenses you got to make defenses pause and say that, well, we can't stack the box on these guys. We can't take them lightly because they can just run right past us. You know, we have yet to strike fear in the defense.
Correct.
We don't strike fear in any defense.
Correct.
Okay. It said Rock Jones, I think we all agree Chuba should be starting. Sanders just isn't seeing the field well, and Black should be more involved as well. Facts. Facts upon facts. Lost for Amico says Smith suck for the Bears, drop balls, fumbles, etc. Okay. Well, I didn't know Emir Smith Marset played for the Bears.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. All I can tell you what we saw in the preseason highlights of him in Kansas City, and that's why they went and got him.
Correct.
And he didn't look like he was dropping too many balls in the preseason this year.
Correct.
Yeah. So look, man, you got any final thoughts before we get out of here, Doug?
Now, I definitely appreciate you. Like I said, hopefully CJ is still listening. I definitely got you in my prayers. I'm definitely gonna reach out, man. Um, like I said, I will be back home. Next Saturday, I will be at the Hall of Honor game. So if you are at the game, you want to, say what's going on, Doug. How are you doing? Da 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 da. Don't be a stranger. I definitely love to see a face with a name that's in the chat. Also at What's Up, Doug, we will be doing a vlog for the Houston game. Also, check us out on Thursday nights. We have NFL takes over there every Thursday. Right before the game, we have a special one on November 9th. Me and my co-partner, Uncle Quan, we'll definitely have a big night on November 9th. You do not want to miss that one. November 9th, when we do play Chicago Bears, is going to be a major night for the Panthers experience with Uncle Quan and What's Up, Doug. We have a special guest joining us the afternoon. I think going forward, I have one more game after Sunday. I will be going to New Orleans when we play New Orleans. And
Okay.
for content wise, I will be going to Thanksgiving, the Cowboys versus the Washington Commanders. So that
Okay.
is my slate for the end of the season. We will be having more content coming out at What's Up, Doug. I definitely see my guy Tony definitely dropped a link. Definitely appreciate him having me come up, talk the state of the union of the Carolina Panthers. Definitely looking forward to next week when we're off the bye, see who comes up healthy and how we go forward with our season. It's always a pleasure to talk to these gentlemen right here, man. Definitely appreciate it. Again, I see Rod Jones. I definitely appreciate your community hearing me out with the feedback and everything. Like I said, if you guys have not and you would love to, I definitely appreciate if you guys just hit that subscribe button for us over there. And we'll definitely, bring some great content to you guys over there. What's up, Doug?
All right. Well, listen. So we do have the link right here showing that you click on that will take you to the What's Up Dub. Hey, like you said, hit the like button, subscribe, and click on the post notification bell. So whenever he drops something new, you guys will be made aware of. We definitely appreciate you for watching Two Fans in the Stands
Yes,
with
sir.
our guest. Uh, don't
Yes,
forget
sir.
to like, subscribe,
Yes, sir.
and comment on our channel as well. And until then, Panthers Nation, keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Y'all stay blessed.